What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Friday. Glad to have everybody along. Guess what? The Titans are practicing football today for rookie minicamp later on this morning, and I'll be down there at St. Thomas Sports Park to watch the Titans rookies on the practice field for the first time in their Titans uniform. So we'll see J.C. Latham, we'll see Devondre Sweat, Cedric Gray, and the rest of the rookie class, and maybe some undrafted names that have not been made official quite yet, but that's coming up. So content this afternoon. Once Titans rookie minicamp practice wraps up, we'll have it all over our social media. So very excited about that. But we were also down there yesterday for a little press conference action. Got to talk to Brian Callahan, head coach, every assistant coach on this new Titans staff for the first time, and quarterback Will Levis also talked to the media. There was a ton of great content, Jack. We don't have time to talk about it all. We've got time to talk about one thing that I think, was the most surprising and probably the one topic that was most talked about by Callahan and the assistant coaches, because Tyke Tolbert, new Titans wide receiver coach, had a 12-minute plus media availability in a scrum, and probably half of the questions were about Treylon Burks. So we will hear what these two coaches, Brian Callahan and Tyke Tolbert, said about Treylon Burks. High praise for Treylon Burks, Jack, here on a Friday. And so we'll talk about the little buy or sell action as Treylon Burks hype has already started from inside the Titans coaching staff. So, Jack, welcome in. Ain't that good news to wrap up this week here on a Friday before I head down there to St. Thomas Sports Park. So, Jack, what's up, man? Let's get this thing rolling.
Yeah, hey, it's been a Burks heavy week, and we finally get to hear from the Titans coaching staff, and I think that Titans fans are going to like what some of these coaches had to say about him yesterday. We're going to get into that here in just a minute. First, we got to make sure we're doing our homework early. Let's like the show, like it on Facebook, like it on YouTube. I only see 11 total likes right now. Let's get those numbers up. Let's get it to at least 30 by the time I'm done with my spiel. So go ahead and drop a like, share the show on Facebook. Let's help grow the audience and grow the show. It's good for us, and we want to hear from every Titans fan out there on this Friday morning. I know y'all want to kill an hour at work or kill an hour while y'all are getting ready for work. So come hang out with us. Come, get live in the chat with us. We're going to get to y'all throughout the show, but let's share the show on Facebook. Let's turn our notifications on if we're watching on YouTube by tapping that bell icon near the top of your screen. It's going to be a fun weekend. We're going to get to see these rookies in action over there for the first time. They're not going to be in pads, but it's going to be exciting to see them kind of get their first work in as Titans on the field. You're not going to want to miss an update, so make sure your notifications are turned on with A to Z Sports YouTube channel. Finally, if you're watching on Twitch, text that Twitch link around to your Titans text groups, sharing the show, growing the audience. All that's good for us. So that would help us out big time. And I know your friends want to talk Titans this morning. So bring them on in here. And Austin, let's get the show on the road.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley, and he is Jack Gentry, the Tighten Up Podcast. And we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, A to Z Sports, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of the new car buying process in Lebanon and save money. WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. The region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic Farm Bureau health plans. Get better with Farm Bureau health plans and get a quote today by using our link at fbhp.com/ATOZ. So tons of topics that came out of yesterday's media availability. Brian Callahan had a lot of great things to say. Will Levis, I thought, was great at the podium, and topics will follow in the next week or so before the Titans are back on the practice field, at least with the media out there in about 10 to 11 days from now. But Will Levis feels like a franchise quarterback, right? Like you can feel him taking that leadership role just by, his presence at the podium and how he talks about this offseason and his process. The most competitive assistant coach scrum I've ever been a part of was for the first time that offensive line coach Ron Slay coined O-line Jesus. Bill Callahan talked to Titans media. I thought there was going to be a fight that was going to break out over positioning for camera shots. There was multi-level camera operators there as Bill Callahan completely surrounded. And I got tapped on the shoulder with a little bit more force than I thought was appropriate for camera shots there. So I will say Bill Callahan was out there and people were listening and wanting to ask him questions. And so we will have tons of topics about what Bill Callahan said about J.C. Latham, what I will see from J.C. Latham today on the practice field, as well as T'Vondre Sweat was around Tracy Rocker talking about T'Vondre Sweat and his weight situation overall, and also talked to Frank Bush about what it's like being back at this Titans facility. He was an assistant coach back in the early 2010s, 10 plus years ago, and the difference that this franchise has made at the facility with a brand new building, with all these resources, and what he said about this is a franchise that's competing at the highest levels when it comes to that investment by owner Amy Adams Strunk. So there's so many different things to get to that's not even Treylon Burks. But Jack, Treylon Burks was probably the biggest talking point of any of the topics throughout this media day availability. And it started because of what, with Tyler Boyd's unofficial signing. And Brian Callahan talked about Tyler Boyd. We'll get to Tyler Boyd's impact on Burks later on in the show. But he was asked about Tyler Boyd. He gave a great answer about Tyler Boyd in the slot. And then Brian Callahan opened up on what Treylon Burks has been showing this staff in practice so far throughout the spring. Here is head coach Brian Callahan on Treylon Burks overall.
As far as Treylon's role, he's going to play everything. We've told him that from the beginning. He's going to play inside, he's going to play outside, and he's going to carve out a role for himself. And I had him come up today and do the break after practice because his work that he's put in has been really impressive. Just to give you guys some context, yesterday, Tuesdays are our harder days of our 4-day work week. It's a really heavy day. And so the load on the players is high. And what I mean by that is both acceleration, max speeds, and yardage. And so Treylon, I think, ran 3,591 yards on Tuesday and then hit our top speed and team-leading top speed at 22.6 miles an hour in practice. So super impressive workload and performance. And so he's had a really good offseason. I'm excited about what he can bring for us. I meant when I said that the other day that I think he's going to have a role to play.
How valuable is this to see him healthy? I know he's had a lot of knickknacks and different injuries. How different is it to see him healthy?
It's always valuable when the guys are healthy. They get a chance to really lean into the work. They can really improve. It's hard sometimes when you're injured to learn and then not be able to do. And so being healthy allows you to take all the things that we talk about and be able to go on the grass and execute it. So that part's a huge advantage. So guys, when you get an off season where you're healthy, you can really make strides and really improve. And I think we'll see that.
So there's a lot there from Brian Callahan. I hear Bork say, did we ever hear Vrabel mention in practice analytics even once? And I think as we hear more from Brian Callahan, especially after practice settings, we're going to judge and compare Brian Callahan versus Mike Vrabel a lot. And the same thing goes for how these assistant coaches are speaking after practices and on the at the facility as well, and how the players are opening up more. Because Will Levis said it yesterday, Jack. I don't think he meant it as a shot at Vrabel, but he said something along the lines of, yeah, there are some players that are feeling more comfortable being vocal this year. Now, that could be a comment from many different reasons. It could be just that they're more comfortable in their role. They've been around a little longer and feel more mature as an NFL player. And or it could be because Vrabel was a dark cloud of anxiety hanging over several people around that facility. But so that's one thing there that Bork mentioned. But to go on what Treylon Burks did at practice that Brian Callahan just said, 3,591 yards in one day of practice on Tuesday, hitting a team-high speed of 22.6 miles per hour. Jack, I will tell you, I'm on an article from Pro Football Network last year that was published in late October. And at that time, Tyreek Hill had the highest miles per hour of any ball carrier to that point. So 2 months into the NFL season, Tyreek Hill's fastest time in the NFL for a ball carrier was 22.01 miles per hour. Treylon Burks on Tuesday was 22.6. Now, there is a difference in full pads in the game for Tyreek Hill with the football in the middle of a game versus a early May practice with no pads. But 22.6 miles per hour is moving. That is, especially you talk about running 3,500 plus yards, and within that hitting 22.6. I think that is something that Titans fans have to be excited about.
Yeah, no question. And look, Treylon Burks, his physical attributes is what keeps that voice inside of my head that says, "Don't give up on Treylon Burks yet. Don't do it. Don't do it, Jack." Even after 2 years where he's missed 12 games, hadn't really done a whole lot when he's been on the field either, there's still that part of me that believes that we haven't seen the best of Treylon Burks. And I think that that's extremely fair because, with the quarterback's inconsistency, with his injury issues, with, some of his inconsistencies on the field, he hasn't really been able to hit his full stride, and he hasn't been able to capitalize on any sort of momentum. Like, even after a strong training camp last offseason, there was really not much to show for it once the lights came on Sunday. So I'm happy that he's in great shape, and maybe it's the best shape of his NFL heading into training camp. That's great, but that's also something that I think Titans fans should expect from Treylon Burks the first 2 seasons of his career. So he's doing this. I'm glad he's impressing this new coaching. Maybe your point to what Will Levis said, this group just feels a little more loose around Callahan's guys. I think there absolutely is something to do that, and it's under Vrabel. If you're not performing, I'm sure you're probably hearing about it. So Treylon Burks' confidence is of the utmost importance, and being reliable for Treylon Burks when it comes to being in the right spot, making the right plays, running the right routes for Will Levis is going to be huge. So he's got the physical side of the game down, but we've known that that's kind of his strong suit, right? It's about the mental side that he struggled with. So I'm glad to hear he's hitting top speeds. I'm glad to hear he's in great shape conditioning wise, but I kind of want to see him in action with the pads on before I really jump to any conclusions.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So another thing that I thought was interesting too from Brian Callahan there was that he had Treylon Burks break the team down at the end of yesterday's work. And I think that's a sign of some type of progress, or at least an extra way to motivate Treylon Burks or show and give him appreciation and acknowledgement of the hard work he's put in. I asked Tyke Tolbert about this, and we'll hear from Tyke Tolbert here in a second, but about how you have to get to know the person, the human being, outside of getting to know the player and the traits that the athlete has when jumping into a new situation as a coach. And it's all about getting to know the player and the human being of Treylon Burks to know what motivates him. And maybe this coaching staff has recognized something that maybe Treylon Burks needs positive reinforcement, and giving Treylon Burks some positive reinforcement of, dude, you hit 22.6 miles per hour and ran 3,600 damn yards on Tuesday. Break us down, big boy, because that is your opportunity here to take that next step. So let's hear from Titans wide receiver coach Tyke Tolbert on what he has seen from Treylon Burks thus far. But real quick, it's Friday, Jack, which means it's Good News Friday and good gravy. Holiday World Splash and Safari has a new roller coaster that's out starting tomorrow. Tomorrow, Holiday World is open to the public, and the Good Gravy new ride is also open as well. Good Gravy is a coaster like no other in the world of roller coasters, themed after a Thanksgiving dinner, obviously fitting the Holiday World theme overall at their theme park at Santa Claus, Indiana. You can open it up to the public tomorrow, May 11th, 2024. Riders of all ages and nearly all heights because, you can get on there with 38 inches of height right there. Can jump on this coaster that's shaped like a gravy boat, going through all types of Thanksgiving experiences, reaching a max speed of 37 miles per hour, a 20-foot tall whisk, and an 18-foot tall rolling pin for your kids to enjoy that. So good gravy, good news to wrap up this show on a Friday. But Holiday World is always great value, great variety. They have over 40 rides and slides with something for everyone in the family. And they always have free soft drinks, parking, and sunscreen. Get the best deal on on summer theme parks at Holiday World and Splash and Safari. Tickets live now, holidayworld.com. So, Jack, let's go ahead and get to Titans wide receivers coach Tyke Tolbert on what he has learned about Treylon Burks in the last couple of months, first being on the job as the Titans coach.
Really impressed with Treylon up to this point. You hear things when you come into a new situation about guys and what happened with the past and all that stuff. And I told all those guys, we've got a fresh set of eyes on you. And Treylon has done everything and more we've asked from him. Treylon is a guy that this offseason, he's probably the only guy, I think, maybe one other guy on our team from a receiver standpoint. He's the only guy that's played 3 positions. I'm forcing him to learn all the positions, all the concepts, because you never know where he can line up. He can be outside, can be inside. So he's really taken, a hold of that. He studies at night. He asks me questions. He's really good. I'm really surprised, or pleased, not that it's a surprise, pleased with his progress. He's getting better every day. Every day we've been out here, he's done something and gotten better every single day. I like his explosion. He's got really good ball skills. And again, he's learning all 3 positions, so I'm looking forward to continuing to work with him and see how he can help us in the fall.
Based on his skill set, what in your mind is the best version of Treylon? How do you get the best version of him out on the field?
Well, again, that's a work in progress, and I've only been around a couple weeks right now, but being able for him to play outside and inside, he's really strong. When he's running a route and he cuts, pieces of the turf comes up out of the ground. So he's got a powerful plant when he plants and separates, so that's good. And like I mentioned, his ball skills are really good. So I didn't really know how well it was until I got here and saw it in person. But I just remember, again, all the things you hear about a certain guy when you come in. I sat him down and said, look, you're the same guy. We brought him in for a 30 visit when I was in Chicago. So I said, you're the same guy who I saw kill Alabama DBs, kill LSU DBs. So in the NFL, guess who you're playing against? The Alabama DBs, the LSU DBs. So you got to continue to be you, get better and control what you can control. And he's been doing that, taking him to coaching, and he's getting better every day.
So there's Tyke Tolbert, who, look, I got to talk to Tyke Tolbert a little bit before we started the scrum. I've got a connection to Tyke Tolbert. And this guy has coached so many different stud wide receivers in the NFL. If you listen to 104.5 The Zone or Titans Radio with Coach Dave McGinnis, Tyke Tolbert was his wide receivers coach when he was the head coach in Arizona. He's coached guys like Anquan Bolden, Larry Fitzgerald, Steve Smith. Those right there, 3 very different receivers in their height, weight, skill sets, and everything else. He's been a part of the Bears staff where they had DJ Moore and some other young receivers that came up the last several years. But Tyke Tolbert has been around this league for quite some time, and he's seen a bunch of different style of receivers and knows how to connect with those different guys. And I think Tyke Tolbert will be a really good asset for Treylon Burks. And I think, just knowing that he's had a relationship with Treylon Burks going back to his draft cycle in 2022, bringing him in Chicago for a 30 visit to get to know him there, to have that baseline. So, look, I do see this, Jack, from a couple of chat. Koss says, heard all of this before, right? I've heard all this stuff before. Coach speak, I saw somebody say about he's doing all the right things, right? From Fatty Matty. Jimmy's done everything we've asked him to do and more. A hard worker. He's in the room, getting better every day, studying at night, asking questions. That's true. We have heard these things before, but Jack, do you get a sense that, or I guess, what is your sense of how this coaching staff is receiving Treylon Burks? Because before I let you answer, I think Tolbert started his answer about Burks was like, you hear things about guys when you're taking a new job, and you try not to let that, mold your opinion. But, Treylon Burks has been the opposite of maybe what he thought he was going to get coming into this job.
Yeah, so I think a couple things can be true here. And I think the first thing that can be true is that Treylon Burks is already off to a great start this offseason. And I get it. He had a great training camp last season, but, it's good that he's starting off on the right foot because, again, this momentum thing, he hasn't been able to sustain any of this. So starting off on the right foot is very important for Treylon Burks. I also believe that maybe this coaching staff on their way in, when they were meeting with Rand Carthon and some of these other guys, I wonder if they were told, hey, man, like, we got to build Treylon up. Like, he's just one of those players that needs it. He needs to hear it that he's doing well. He's been through a lot in these 2 seasons. He's down confidence-wise, but we can't afford to lose that without fully Treylon Burks' experience. And part of that is, I think it's cool that Tyke Tolbert said, Treylon's got to learn all 3 positions. He's got to learn inside and outside. Hadn't had a lot of success on the outside. They hadn't really tried him on the inside. And Austin Huff on the Tighten Up podcast this week, which is out now, you should go listen to it, Spotify and Apple. He said Treylon Burks has kind of been used previously as like that square peg in a round hole. He hadn't really worked on the outside, but in college, 77% of his snaps came from the inside. In the NFL, he's only lined up in the slot 20% of the time. So that's an area they haven't truly explored yet. And I believe that will be figured out here this offseason. Now, another thing is, I don't think that this training camp is the same as last year's training camp, or that we'll have here in a couple months. The receivers the cornerbacks that the Titans brought in Jarius Sneed and Chidobe Awuzie, Roger McCreary in the slot, even very physical guys. These are guys that don't lose 50-50 balls all that often. So if Treylon Burks can go out there in training camp and he can win some of those 50-50 balls against those guys, and he can beat Roger McCreary in the slot, then I'll start to realize, beating up on Christian Fulton, those underachievers, it didn't impress me a whole lot. It's fun to see him making big plays. It's good for his confidence. But doing it against Pro Bowl caliber players is totally different. And that's something I look forward to seeing.
All right, so let's make that our question for everybody here on the show. Let's ask this now. Is there something Treylon Burks can do before the regular season to make you feel confident in him as a wide receiver? Is there anything, something, one thing that Treylon Burks can do before the regular season? And we'll find out next week what that week 1 game is for the Titans. When we'll see Treylon Burks out there on a Sunday or whatever day of the week it is this year for the NFL. But is there something Treylon Burks can do before the regular season to make you feel confident at all? So I see comments are already rolling in for answers on this. We'll get to all those here in a second. But first, Farm Bureau Health Plans. I know they can do something for you with your health coverage. Farm Bureau Health Plans can help you out. Health, dental, vision, all of it, or any of it in between. Farm Bureau Health Plans has been serving Tennesseans for over 77 years. So much has changed across the state of Tennessee in those generations and generations of Tennesseans that Farm Bureau Health Plans has only gotten better in how they serve you. So if you're a young entrepreneur, maybe independent contractor, and you don't have any health coverage to fall back on from an employer, Farm Bureau Health Plans can help you out. Maybe you got a young, growing family, and you're trying to make sure that you have that safety net for your young kids or whatever those plans are. Farm Bureau Health Plans is right there. Maybe you're empty nested and you and your spouse need that next level. They've got you covered. Farm Bureau Health Plans can literally do it all. They will help save you money and get better coverage. So any Tennessean out there who's trying to think, how can I save money every month with the budget so I can do more fun things? So maybe I can work on Titans tickets or work on doing more date nights or whatever it might be. You can shave money off of that budget with your health coverage by going to Farm Bureau Health Plans and get a quote today by using our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ.
BetMGM.com. Going to get some skin in the game if you're looking to get off your current sportsbook because you've had a bad run of luck and start something new with a little extra money in your pocket. To start, BetMGM is the place to do it. Download BetMGM app, new users, plug in our bonus code ATOZ Sports, and you'll get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. A lot of action going on right now. I know everybody's got their hunches in the playoffs and they're watching the NHL and the NBA. Well, they've also college baseball up, and there's a big series over on West End starting tonight between Vanderbilt and Tennessee. They've got that up there. They've got Titans season win total props, Will Levis passing touchdown props. They've got it all over at BetMGM. So get in on the action. Download the app, use our bonus code ATOZ Sports, and get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses.
All right, the question we've asked, is there something Treylon Burks can do before the regular season to make you feel confident in him as a wide receiver for the Titans? I'll send Jack to the comments here in a second. King VC super chat of the day. Obviously, like the show. Like the show. We need way more likes. I see only 60 on Facebook. There's about 60 plus people watching that have not liked the show, at least. So hit that like button, please. That goes a long way. YouTube, same for you guys. Please hit that like button. It helps us out quite a bit. So shout out King VC on that. So Jack, I will send you to the chat now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch to answer the question, or to read the answers to the question. And that is there something Treylon Burks can do before the regular season to make you feel more confident in him going into year 3? What's everybody saying, Jack?
Jake, JR, C Rich, Guy Man, all start us out with big fat nose. Eric Castillo says nothing. Fatty Matty says the regular season's all that matters. We got nose from Kyle and Steve. Kenny Hill says be available. The best ability is availability, and Treylon Burks has not been available consistently for the Tennessee Titans. No injuries from Curtis C. No from Richie Guzman. We got not get hurt from Michael Snyder. Ira Hoshi says play well in practice. Billy says stay healthy. Jeff Rubel says stay healthy and no drops. Cut out the drop issues. Staying healthy is great because he's on the field. But when you're on the field, don't make mistakes. Stay healthy. We've got stay healthy. Nothing matters except real tape. Hell nah, let him be great. Nothing he can do. He had a couple of training camps. Got to translate to the games. It's got to happen. Lights are on Sunday. Nothing. And confidence. When I hear Tyke and I hear Will Levis, I pick that together. I think Vrabel was not right for him. I think there's something to that.
Yeah, well, let's take a pause here because Ann brings up something that I actually wanted to talk about a little bit too. I don't think Mike Vrabel disliked Treylon Burks. I think Mike Vrabel liked and cared about Treylon Burks and still does. I think with the situations that Burks was in from the very beginning, from his very first rookie training minicamp practice of having the asthma flare and being hands on knees, bent over, heaving, trying to catch his breath after the first rep of the first drill. I think from that point on, Mike Vrabel was having to do damage control for Treylon Burks, and I think he was a little bit too overprotective. And I don't think that was the right way to go about it in hindsight. We've talked about this ad nauseum, Jack, over the last couple of years. If Mike Vrabel had come out right after that and said, yeah, he's got asthma. We know how to deal with it. He's dealt with it at Arkansas. It's not a problem in the season because his asthma is related to the spring and summer allergies. It's just a new city and new pollen for him. We'll get through it. Then everybody will be like, all right, cool, sweet. Thanks, coach. And that's the end of it. And we understand that there's something there, but it's not going to crop up in September because the weeds and the grass that bloom in May and June are done, right? Like that's simple, but that didn't happen. It was a lot of protectiveness, a lot of non-answers there. And I think Vrabel could have handled that better in hindsight. And then obviously a knee injury happened, a concussion happened, another concussion happened. And so things started to really stack up and turf toe happened and Burks was just unavailable. So it was a never ending cycle of having to do damage control for Treylon Burks.
So even though that Vrabel never directly called out Treylon Burks for, he wasn't a soft tissue guy by any means, but he was always injured. And Vrabel was pretty hard on the guys that were usually injured. I mean, we saw David Long. The Titans moved on from David Long in record time. Now he led Miami in tackles last season. And same thing with Christian Fulton. I think Christian Fulton's confidence was a little disrupted because Mike Vrabel was a little upset with his soft tissue injury stuff. This offseason, and really during this regular season, I think is great. And one guy we're not going to talk about today, Austin, is the strength and conditioning coach, the sports performance coach that the Titans brought in. And we talked about asymmetries and hamstring stuff, all this stuff. It sounds like they've figured out a good plan for guys that have had injury issues in the past and getting them up to speed and kind of, getting their whole body on the same page instead of, having one leg that's stronger than the other. I think that guy is going to be really important for Treylon Burks throughout this season. And so look, even though Vrabel didn't directly call out Treylon Burks due to the injury stuff, I think that Burks could have lost some confidence just because of the pressure that Vrabel put on these guys to stay healthy. And Treylon Burks, no fault of his own, couldn't stay healthy. So I think that was a big factor in Treylon Burks' kind of lack of confidence over the past few seasons.
All right,
my
so Jack,
answer to this question.
Yeah, I was about to toss to you. And if there's more comments that you've seen that you didn't get to because we took a timeout and paused on Ann's, but I think for the most part, the chat is more of a no. There's nothing Burks can do before the regular season to make them feel more confident, right?
Right. So my answer is I think that Treylon Burks should be the most utilized wide receiver that has a chance at significant time in the preseason. I think that Treylon Burks should be out there for both teams. And look, it's going to be great because Mason Rudolph is a capable backup. So it's not like he's going to spend time with the second team with Malik Willis, struggling to get the ball to him. You got a capable backup that's going to kind of be able to pick up where Levis leaves off and continue some of that momentum and, create opportunities for Treylon Burks with the second team. So I think it's very important for him to get off to a great start in the preseason. I want to see it look like varsity and JV. When that second quarter comes around, when that start of the third quarter comes around, I want to see Treylon Burks big dogging DBs. I want to see like a clear difference in talent between Treylon Burks and whoever he's lined up against, whichever backup cornerback he's lined up against. Building confidence that way through actual game reps with capable quarterbacks is going to really help Treylon Burks, hit the ground running when week one rolls around. So dominating, not just performing okay, not just making a couple catches here and there, but I want to see 65, 70-yard performances, because he's not going to be out there for the full 4 quarters, but probably, for 2, maybe 2.5 quarters. I want to see some of those performances in preseason. I want to see him win jump balls, like I mentioned, in training camp against L'Jarius Sneed and Chidobe Awuzie. I want to see him beat Roger McCreary in the slot. I want to see him, find confidence, get into the end zone, for God's sake. 1 touchdown in 22 games. He's a physical man. He should be a red zone threat. We haven't seen that yet from him. And so that's something I also want to see, happen in the preseason. Touchdowns in the preseason, dominating backup DBs, and just kind of being in the right place at the right time with Will Levis and earning his trust.
I completely agree. I think Treylon Burks should play as many snaps in the preseason as possible. One, because it's going to prove and make him stay healthy and make him stay up to date in where his conditioning needs to be and gaining as much confidence as possible. I think it's going to help him with what you said about gaining confidence from different quarterbacks. So my answer to the question is yes, there is something he can do. And I think it's multifaceted. You brought up the idea of him practicing in training camp against Sneed, against Awuzie, and against Roger McCreary. I think that's a big difference compared to the last couple of years. He was going out there and dominating Caleb Farley in training camp 2 years ago. He was out. Remember, who was it?
It's like me beating a fourth grader in a game of one-on-one.
It was remember training camp 2022. Deep threat racing McMath was a blip in August of 2022 because he was just dusting Caleb Farley in training camp practice. Now, we learned to come that neither of those things mattered because both players don't matter at this point in the Titans. Racey's been gone, and I did see Caleb Farley doing speed training out there on the field yesterday. Probably not supposed to tell you that, but he's out there doing speed training, and it looked pretty good. But with Burks, I want to see him. I want to see how Treylon Burks responds to L'Jarius Sneed punching him in the chest at the line of scrimmage. I want to see how he does going up and attacking the football with Awuzie or any of these guys up on him in coverage on the sideline. So, I think that's a big deal for Burks. But, I'm all about seeing what Burks can do in the preseason because DeAndre Hopkins doesn't need to be playing the preseason. Does Calvin really need to play in the preseason?
Yes.
TBD. Now, I think a little bit, but Treylon Burks running. Get him out there and go. And I don't think you should worry about any injuries there for Burks in a preseason game. He's just got to show that he can do it in a game setting and come down with the football. Because there were so many times early last year before Burks had the concussion, before Levis took over as quarterback, when Ryan Tannehill would hit Treylon Burks between the 1 and the 6, and he would drop it. or not come down with a good deep ball. He did it once against the Chargers for 70 yards, which acted for about 30% of his total season production. And so I want to see Burks do it. So yes, there is something that Treylon Burks can do. I think everybody should take it with a grain of salt and say, okay, all right, that's fine. Need to see it on Sundays. But I do think there is an opportunity to gain confidence in Treylon Burks from a media standpoint and from a fan standpoint based on what he does in training camp and in preseason games.
Kadaro says, Jack has high hopes for Burks. I wouldn't say that I have high hopes for Burks, but I certainly haven't given up on him yet. And I'm certainly, excited about him having a new opportunity with, like Tyke Tolbert said, new eyes on him. This is a new group that's getting to evaluate Treylon Burks. And let's face it, the guys in charge of the offense during Treylon Burks' first 2 years, I mean, Todd Downing and Tim Kelly last season, I'm not super sold on them being able to maximize the value of a guy who you might have to work with, at different spots in order to find the right role for him. So I think that this is a much more competent offensive staff. So I have belief in that. And I also, his days at Arkansas feel like they were not long ago, right? And what he did at Arkansas, he killed the SEC, man. He dominated them. I don't understand how that hasn't translated yet, but there's too much in Treylon Burks. There are too many positives in his game for me to throw him out the window because, the first 2 seasons in a terrible offense hasn't gone the way we wanted. This is the right system for Treylon Burks to have success, but it is now or never for him. And if he can't take a big jump this year, then I think the conversation of moving on from him next offseason becomes more real. And look, a lot of these people still believe that, maybe coaching staff out to then trade him right before the season and gain a little bit. But again, I think that's a bad idea because low on Burks perform for you this offseason or this season. No way he has a worse year this year than any of his first 2 years. And you get a higher draft pick if you want to move on from him.
Yeah, Jack's Wi-Fi still trying to catch up from the storm, maybe. But yeah, it's that storm, man. It happens. I guess, next week you should be much better because the storm will settle down. All right, so I got some super chats coming in about Treylon Burks. We've also got another question to ask about Tyler Boyd and Treylon Burks and how that plays a factor here. But first, the Bone and Joint Institute is where you should turn for all of your injury needs. boneandjointtn.org. They are the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. You should trust Bone and Joint because I do. Because guess what? Wednesday, I'll be seeing my guy, Dr. Scott Arthur, get a little knee issue. Going to get that checked out, make sure I'm not doing anything significant to my knee, see if it's just at-home care or if I need something more intense from the Bone and Joint Institute, and they'll help me through that process. It's so easy to book an appointment. You go to their website, boneandjointtn.org. You click the Make an Appointment button, and you type in, click what type of injury you're dealing with. It sorts the experts that work with those injuries, and you go make the appointment that fits your calendar with those experts online at boneandjointtn.org.
BetMGM.com, the king of sportsbooks. Download BetMGM. New users plug in our bonus code A to Z Sports and get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. Great action going on across the sports world right now. Get in on the action. New users sign up with BetMGM and get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your bet misses.
All right, so let's get to some super chats here on the show. As I saw, Noah came through with a couple, but 650 just gives us a little 99 cents. Appreciate that. On the like button there. So hit that like button if you can, please, on Facebook and on YouTube. Noah comes in back to back. He says, for a long time, the Titans as a team haven't done well in bringing out the best in receivers. Outside of AJ, who's a special talent, DeAndre Hopkins, already a superstar, and NWI, a UDFA overachiever, haven't had guys meet their ceiling. I think there's a lot to that, Jack. And, we've been around this team for so long. You've seen guys that have just not been able to break through. You have Nate Washington, right, who did come here and produce. Harry Douglas came here and produced later on in his career there. But you've had guys that have been higher draft picks, whether it's first or second round draft picks, Kenny Britt, Justin Hunter, Kendall Wright, Dorial Green Beckham are just easy names off the top of your head. Corey Davis, obviously. Taywan Taylor, a third-round pick that flamed out fairly quickly. So there's a lot of names you can throw into here that just could not get it done there from Noah.
Yeah, it's been a 2+ decades of docketed disappointment for the Titans at the wide receiver position. So it sucks to not be able to maximize the talent on a first-round receiver like Treylon Burks, but I don't think now's the time to give up on him.
Yeah, and Ryan comes in here, fresh off the press super chat. It says, please move on from the curse of A.J. Brown. I'd take Justin Hunter or DGB over Burks at this point.
Give me a damn break.
Well, if you go look at the numbers, both of those guys were more productive than Treylon Burks in their first 2 years. That's a fact.
I mean, Treylon had to deal with, the injury stuff, the terrible quarterback play, the in-kill offensive coordinators. So not these guys are built equally, and I'd put money on it that Treylon Burks ends up with more career receiving yards than either of those two bozos.
I would probably agree, but to this point, those two guys with DGB, he was traded going into his second year. I'm trying to think what year draft pick was Dorial Green Beckham. He was the Marcus. Yeah. So he did not make it to year 2 for the Titans. John Robinson shipped him off in training camp going into the 2016 season. So Noah comes in with a super chat. This is also the first mindset shift in a long time. So hoping that these changes and trends of not developing receivers effectively can end. Yeah, I mean, I agree, right? And that's kind of what we're going to get to here in a second. Because I do want to ask this question to everybody and play another video about what Tyler Boyd's signing means for Treylon Burks. But real quick, a moment's peace, salon and day spa. That's where you need to turn because, guys, Mother's Day is so close. And you have to make sure that you make sure Mother's Day is a win for you. I've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks. Last call for Mother's Day. Last call for Mother's Day, a momentspeace.com/mom. They've got dozens of services there in Cool Springs off of Carruthers for you to pamper mom. Get a gift card. That's all it takes. And she gets to decide what she wants. Mani-pedi, facials, hair products in the salon, or any type of hair service in the salon. Massage, back and shoulders. That's a 45-minute process. A 60-minute Swedish, 90-minute couples, deep tissue massage. They've got it all right there, and the best in the business in Cool Springs off of Carruthers. It's a guaranteed win for Mother's Day. A momentspeace.com/mom is where to go.
New users, download BetMGM and use our bonus code you see on the screen right now, A to Z Sports. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. Great stuff going on in the sporting world right now. Don't miss out on it. New users, plug in our bonus code ATOZ Sports. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses.
Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions subject to qualification and other requirements. First online real money wager only. Rewards issued non-durable bonus bets that expire 7 days. And for problem game with sport, call Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789. Okay, Jack, let's play this video from Brian Callahan about Tyler Boyd and Treylon Burks. Here's the head coach.
What did you say to him about bringing in Tyler and just kind of how is his reaction to maybe getting a diminished role or having to compete a little bit more?
I wouldn't say there's a diminished role of any sort. We've made very clear to Treylon that the signing of Tyler is not about him. It's about helping our team get better, adding better players to our team, making us a competitive football team. And what he's done and how he's worked has been great. And I'm anticipating him still being able to play a good role for us. And look, you got to have guys that can step in and play. You got to have guys that play roles, and that hasn't changed. It doesn't change anything for Treylon as far as what we're expecting from him and what I'm hopeful that he's able to bring to the offense. So we communicated that to him and made sure he was aware. And it's not about him. It's about making our team better, making our receiving core more competitive, adding more depth to our team in general.
All right, Jack, buy or sell. Buy or sell what Brian Callahan's saying that Tyler Boyd's signing doesn't affect Treylon Burks in this Titans offense. I'll let you answer as the comments in the chat start to roll in. So buy or sell that Tyler Boyd does not affect negatively Treylon Burks' role in the Titans offense.
Yeah, sorry about the Wi-Fi. It's out of my control. I don't know what I can do. We're just gonna have to power through.
Yeah.
Anyways, hard sell. How does it not affect Treylon Burks? It's another mouth to feed on offense, and it's a guy who plays strictly out of the slot. I mean, all of Boyd's production last season, he put up 51 catches, 508 receiving yards, and a touchdown, all in the slot, straight out of the slot. And 78% of his targets came from the slot. So if that's a spot you want to work Treylon Burks in, well, he's going to have to get in behind Tyler Boyd, because that's a guy that's already had success in the last 5 seasons under Brian Callahan in his offense at the slot position. So I'm selling it. It's another guy Treylon Burks is going to have to compete with for snaps. And, because of that, I believe that, he'll probably see the ball a little bit less than he would have otherwise. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right?
All right. So we asked buy or sell that Tyler Boyd doesn't affect Treylon Burks negatively in this offense. How about this? Ashley, Orlando, Katie, Bobby, Demario, excuse me, all buys. The first 5 responses in chronological order were buys. Rooney is our first sell. Jason, Kevin, Josh, Deborah are all buys. Patrick, Stevie is a buy. I see Titans Kyle with a sell. My goodness, Jack, I am shocked at the overwhelming buys in this. And you sell it. You're opposite. You were right on with the chat with your receiver rankings in the top 10 of the trio. But no, they're disagreeing with you here. I do buy it, but it's for multiple reasons, and it's not just because of what Callahan said. Callahan said, it's Treylon Burks is going to play everywhere in this offense. Tyler Boyd is going to play the slot in this offense. I think Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins also have an ability to play everywhere in this offense. But I think for Treylon Burks, does Tyler Boyd take potential snaps away? Sure, absolutely. But I don't think it's going to be that significant of a hit to Burks. I think it's more about making sure that Treylon Burks can not be that much of a drop-off if Ridley or D-Hop need a blow. If they're, what happens when DeAndre Hopkins or Calvin Ridley has a 35-yard reception where they've got 15 to 20 yards after the catch and it's 1st and 10 and you want to get somebody in there fresh. That's where I think Treylon Burks comes in there after that big play and can come in and take the next snap and still be a threat down the field, hypothetically, right? So I think I overall buy it because I think they're very different overall. I think Burks is a big slot. Boyd is your traditional slot. So I do buy it from the head coach.
You buy that Tyler Boyd does not affect Treylon Burks in the slightest. That's a little naive to me, right? Like, I mean,
a little bit. I said I don't think it's like overly significant. Like I think it affects other guys way more. It affects Kyle Phillips way more. It affects Jaquan Jackson's ability as a receiver. It affects Kinsey's campaign to get a roster spot. It affects Trayshawn Harrison and Kadarius Jackson and all these other guys way more, right? I think that's where it's stealing reps away.
I just think it's going to cut into Treylon Burks' snaps. And if it does cut into Treylon Burks' snaps, it's going to cut into his productivity and his production and his numbers and all that stuff. So Tyler Boyd absolutely makes a difference for what Treylon Burks' potential is this season. You can still have a good year, but at the end of the day, Treylon Burks starts the season as wide receiver 4 instead of wide receiver 3. That's a big difference.
It is, but I also don't think it's that bad of a deal. I think that's a good plan for Burks. Andre comes in with a super chat here and says, I said it last year, why not put Burks in a Debo type role? He's not a boundary style receiver. Whether it was him, coaches, or lack of depth, he has a chance now. I don't think Treylon Burks is a Debo style athlete. I don't think he's twitchy.
Not many people are.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I don't think he's twitchy enough. I don't think he's quick enough. I have questions about how Treylon Burks hit 22.6 miles per hour. Was it a long like 100-meter dash?
Or a
Was
10-yard
it
split,
yeah. Like how quickly did it take him to get there? Were they running field sprints in practice and he had all that ground and grass to eat up to get the 22.6? Debo is a accelerator, quick twitch, quick fast cut type guy. I don't necessarily see Burks being that. He hasn't run those type of routes in college at Arkansas either. It was either straight line, slow curve, transcontinental, Coach Mack term. It was not like quick cut on a dime type stuff that Calvin Ridley and D-Hop do.
Yeah, like the first adjective that comes to mind describing Treylon Burks is strong, right? Debo Samuel, it's, I mean, just straight up athletic. Treylon Burks, sure, he's a great athlete, but not everybody can be Debo, where you can take the ball moving laterally, sideline to sideline speed, and cut on a dime. That's not Treylon Burks' game. So I just want to see him out of the slot this season.
All right, last super chat. Devin comes in, says, bye. If Burks has a better camp in preseason than Boyd, he'll get more snaps, playing time, and targets. Hey, look, I think I have been very vocal about not being a full believer in Tyler Boyd's ability to be a 600-plus yard receiver at his age and where he's been, his mileage in the NFL. He's got a lot of mileage in the NFL. And he was an available free agent in May for a reason. They got a one-year deal up to $4.5 million. So I think there's something that goes into that as well with my buy or sell.
Such an advantage on Burks, just having been in Callahan's system before.
Sure. No doubt. I agree. I think it was a good thing to sign Tyler Boyd, but it's not the biggest of deals for me. All right, Jack, it is now time for Ain't That Good News. If you have good news, send it to us in the chat. Ain't That Good News, or send us the weekend and send me to a Titans rookie minicamp practice. Let's hit it. Good Gravy. That's opening up at Holiday World and Splash and Safari tomorrow, May 11th. HolidayWorld.com for your tickets. Just a couple hours north of downtown Nashville. Make it a part of your summer weekend trips coming up with the kids, the whole family for Holiday World, Splash and Safari. The best value, great deals, and always free soft drinks, sunscreen, and parking. HolidayWorld.com. So good news to flood the chat. Jack, if you see some good news in the chat, I will let you jump into that chat on Facebook and on YouTube. What are the people saying for good news this week?
Yeah, Jeff's a German soccer fan. Leverkusen does it again, scores a late goal to stay undefeated through 49 games this season. That's pretty impressive to not be beaten in 49 games. That's pretty cool. Let's see. We've got, moving on, we have Zach Goodman says he's going to his first UFL game. Go Stallions. Is that Birmingham? Who are the Stallions?
Birmingham.
Birmingham?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good news today is my last day in my old role, starting the new gig Monday. Hey, fresh start, Titans, Kyle. Good for you. Good luck moving forward. Happy Mother's Day. Good. This is a good shout. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms and yes, dads who step up. Also, pet moms count.
Boom.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there this weekend. A moment's peace.
That's right.
Another built-in ad right there. If you're late on Mother's Day shopping. Good news. I got a 96.4% on my nursing school entrance exam.
Okay.
That'll do, Ann. Good for you. I'm getting an autographed Tannehill jersey soon. Good for you, Tiffany. That'll look nice on the mantle. We've got starting a new job on Monday from Brendan Smith. Good luck in your new endeavor, Brendan. Good news, kind of sad news. Entering the last year of your 20s tomorrow, Orlando. Oh man, I'm not too far behind you.
Orlando, man, your 30s is the best decade. 30s is better than 20s.
Man, that would be cool if that was true. I don't believe it.
It is if you do it right. If you do it right, your 30s are better than your 20s. Just saying.
Let's see. Good news. Ipswich back to the Premier League. My family's hometown in the homeland. Good for you, Jake Hughes. Ipswich. All right, I'll be on the lookout for those guys. I know the Wrexham crew. I'm a big Always Sunny fan, but that's pretty cool. The promotion aspect of the Premier League always brings drama into these, into the second league over there. It's really cool to watch. Good news. Graduate on the 18th with a bachelor's degree in business management and a minor in marketing. Not bad for a 45-year-old. Hey, it's never too late to get that degree. Congratulations, Jason. Graduation season, which it is. Congrats to anyone who's graduated high school, college, whatever. Yeah, I second that, Demetrius. I don't die of pollen allergies when I go outside. Austin, I don't think you can relate to this.
No, I'm living. I'm surviving. It's better than the last couple of years. The allergy shots have helped, but not solved, but they've helped. Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see. Last one. Good
A lot of
news.
good news.
My son's school play Mary Poppins is this weekend, and he was also asked to guest play for another baseball team too. Parents visiting from KC, and the Knicks are up 2-0 against the Pacers. I'm so upset that the Knicks aren't going to be at full strength when they get the Boston Celtics. Mitchell Robinson out for the year. OG Anunoby with that hamstring. Brunson's a little banged up. Knicks are hot, fun to watch. All right, my good news is that I'm going to restart my router after this show because I can't deal with it anymore. I mean, the chat's on me. They're on my butt, and it's going to have to change. So my good news is as soon as we hang up here, the Wi-Fi is going to improve. I'm going to unplug it, plug it back in, and hopefully it works.
Yeah. Look, there's so much good news in the chat. Didn't have a chance to get to it. We see all of you guys. Ken, BMO, good news that we didn't have a chance to get to as well. My good news is a little Friday night date night tonight, going out to a concert for an artist that had a certain role at our wedding with a certain song that always takes us back. It'll be 6 years in July from that wedding. And so going to see somebody for the second time where we have one of those songs that means a lot back from our wedding day. So that's what we're doing tonight. Excited about that. Great start to the Mother's Day weekend. Have plans coming up Saturday and Sunday there. So that is our plan for tonight. So that's my little Friday night date night. So pumped about that.
Very fun. Scary Harry says, bad news, headed to the hospital with a high potassium level. Everybody, if you're into praying, keep Scary Harry Flanagan in your prayers. If not, in your thoughts, will do just as well. Scary Harry, we're hoping for the best for you, buddy. Austin, it's been a fun week. Excited to look at these rookies this weekend, though. That's
right. Other good news is I'm going to a football practice. I get to watch the Titans rookies here coming up later today. So stay tuned with all A to Z sports coverage on all of our social platforms to see the first of J.C. Latham and also Tavondre Sweat, Cedric Gray, Jaquan Jackson. They also just announced about a dozen plus undrafted free agent signings as well. A couple of former Vols out there and a former Commodore out there as well there, Jack. But make sure everybody hits that button. If you want Jack's internet to be better next week, hit the like button for us there on Facebook and on YouTube, and we'll catch you guys on a Monday. Content coming soon for Titans minicamp for the rookies. See you later. Appreciate it as always.